Welcome back to Far Cry 6. In this video I want to talk to you about a little bit of playtime that I had on the game. I've not played too much, maybe a little over 2.5 hours, maybe on the closer end to 3 hours, so I'm not too far into it. But I've seen so many comments of people saying, it's just another Far Cry, they haven't changed much, blah blah blah, so on and so forth. I mean, it's in the title, it's a Far Cry game. And this is what I think Ubisoft and a lot of other big companies need to do, in terms of, I feel they need to, a lot of games need to stick to their roots, for sequels and just further installments in a series or a franchise. Because if you look at the Division 1, it goes incursions, you've got the underground, you've got resistance, you've got survival. There's loads of different game modes and everything, and you have a reason to go back week in, week out. You have resets and stuff. And then in the Division 2, they completely changed how the entire game works. You no longer have the incursions, you've got 8-player raids instead. You no longer have the modes like underground, survival, resistance. You simply have missions, the summit, an expansion, and then you've got the PvP being conflict and the dark zone. Whereas Far Cry 5 was, you're in this world, it was a really irritating game because you could just be sitting there playing, then all of a sudden it's going to take you down one of the memory trip sort of things, and you're going to be in this dodgy world. It breaks the immersion, and it was a little bit irritating, but it's a huge open world. There's lots of different activities and stuff to do, and in Far Cry 6 you have an even bigger world, and there's a lot of different stuff you can do. So it's a similar sort of gameplay, feels very close to Far Cry 5 and previous titles, but that's how I feel games should be. I think they've done a very, very good job with this game. I've not had many problems. I've played pretty much specifically co-op, from the moment you unlock it, and it's been a lot of fun. There hasn't been too many bugs. The ones that we have experienced have mainly been funny, entertaining issues. However, there is one thing that really, really annoys me about this game, and that is how lazy Ubisoft have been in terms of the game entirely is set in first person. When you're in vehicles, you are in first person. When you're on a horse, you're in first person. And it's so frustrating because I believe that Far Cry 5 even offered the ability to switch to a third person perspective when you're in vehicles. It's really annoying driving on Far Cry 6 because you can't switch. And it's nothing to do with the devs not wanting to do it like that, because I believe a lot of the cutscenes are third person, and when you actually enter a camp, you are walking around in third person perspective. However, when you're driving, they've taken that feature out, and I feel it's incredibly important to any player of any game when you are driving to have a chase cam or to have a cockpit view. You need to have different perspectives. You are locked in this game, and there are lots of little rocks and fences and stuff that you might not see. It's going to cause crashes. It gets frustrating. So that is my biggest downfall with this game, is just simply the camera perspective being locked to first person when you're in vehicles. And that's a small issue for a game to have. That can be implemented in an update that's not going to take too long to actually go through the processing and everything like that. It wouldn't take them too long. So for that to be my biggest issue with the game says quite a lot, because a lot of you from this channel are going to know exactly how I play games and exactly how I experience them. I come across a lot of game breaking bugs. I'm constantly moaning and bitching about games all the time. But for Far Cry 6, I've had a lot of fun with this game. They have done a fantastic job with it. At the end of the day, when you pick up a game to play, you want it to be fun. The main focus of a game is the gameplay itself. This game doesn't look fantastic, but there is so much it has to offer. You've got a huge variety of weapons. You've got all these secret cache locations. You can go hunting and fishing. And yeah, with the fishing, you don't have the fish weights, but it's still the experience that's there. There are a few things here and there that are very, very small, nitpicky issues. But you can't expect a game, especially nowadays, to be 100% perfect. For a game to have problems, it just shows that a human has worked on them. Because obviously if it was robots, it would probably be perfect. Whereas humans, we're made to make mistakes. It's just a natural thing to happen. So having the small nitpicky issues in the game is good because they're just nitpicky small issues. Whereas so far from my experience, even though I haven't played for too long, there hasn't been anything major or game breaking. So for people, like in my opinion, for people to sit there and say this is too much like a previous Far Cry, I feel that's a good thing. And this map is huge. There is so much game time you can spend if you want to go around exploring, doing all the different activities. You even get different backpacks and stuff. And I did a little test when I was playing with Pete. And Pete's got this gear set on that's like a parkour gear set. Like you're allowed to run faster. And with me riding a horse, I wasn't sprinting. I was just doing the standard movement speed for the horse. He was able to sprint next to me and keep up with me. And when I was sprinting on the horse, he was only a little bit behind. So that adds an extra variety of the gameplay. You can go with these different gear sets, you've got these different weapons, you have these different backpacks, there are different missions and stuff that you can take on. There's even mini activities like, as I said, fishing, hunting. You can do cockfighting, which will be coming to the channel soon. There's just a lot to do and a lot to explore. I wouldn't pick up the game, I don't pick up any game for the story. I go into it specifically for the gameplay. And Far Cry 6 has that on offer, besides, in my opinion, that lack of third-person perspective when you are driving vehicles. I don't normally rate games, but if the game had that third-person perspective, I would easily give it a high 8 or 9. I wouldn't say it's perfect, but it's a bloody good game from what I've played. So what we're going to do on that note is leave the video there. Let me know your thoughts and stuff in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. I hope you guys enjoyed it.